Hey, what do you say there, folks? Your old pal Cadillac Joe D back at ya. It is the 9th of January. The weather's not bad. Hey, we're alive, so whatever the weather is what it is. That's all good. And here's my entrance music. Ric Flair, Elvis, Joe D, all right, baby. Do-do-do. Anyway, today, weather good, we're alive, we're happy. Dogs are here, this is Joe D Raw. Anything can happen. Dogs can bark, neighbors can show up, though very rarely, because they all think I'm here on witness protection. Anyway, today in history, 1969, the Concorde made its maiden voyage. Actually, I guess it was a first trial flight going across the Atlantic Ocean. 1981, you want to feel old? 1981, Hall of Famer Phil Esposito announced his retirement. That was over 30 years ago. Seems like yesterday he was on the Bruins. And of course, he finished up his career with the Rangers, I believe. 1995, Russian cosmonaut Vladimir Polakov, yeah, just like Ivan Koloff, completed 366 days in outer space. Yeah, you know, it seems like I've been out there longer than that, but hey, whatever. 2002, Justice Department announced that it was pursuing a criminal investigation of Enron Corporation. Yeah, that's right. George W. Bush went after a big company, a big corporate thing. You know, that was a huge scam, and I don't even want to go into it because I'll just get my blood boiling. Today in music, 1973, Mick Jagger. Hey, Peter DeRico, listen to this, one of your favorites. Mick Jagger refused a Japanese visa because of a 69 drug bust. The event halted the entire concert tour going into the Orient. So, hey, you know, sometimes the past comes back to bite you in the ass. Birthdays. Well, dig this. See this right here? Nixon, now more than ever. This came from the campaign office across the hall from my father's office at 9 East Central Street in Franklin in 1968. I still got it. Today's Tricky Dickie's birthday. Richard Milhouse Nixon was born in 1913. A fellow that I've become acquainted with, not long lost bro, but a guy that I've met and talked to, Lorenzo Lamas. Very cool guy. Well, his father, Fernando Lamas, is his birthday, 1915. Darling. Fernando Lamas, you know, just makes me long for Corinthian leather. Today, Jimmy Page, 1944, from Led Zeppelin. Now, the Starbucks deal. Well, first of all, I'll just say this. Some of the places that this movie will be posted, I will have a link below it going to a friend of mine, an acquaintance of mine, from Brooklyn, New York. He actually lives in Fort Lee, New Jersey now, called the Kid from Brooklyn, Big Mike. And he has some comments about Starbucks. I totally agree with him. When I first went in there years ago, something didn't seem right. You know, people are sitting around on couches, and I mean, it's like being in somebody's living room, for Christ's sakes. It was crazy. Well, anyway, you know, they try to look sophisticated, be sophisticated and all this. Guess what? They're as goofy as the next one. I mean, all companies have their problems. I go in there yesterday. I waited in line. The line for the drive-thru was around the building. I go inside. I got to make a phone call. I've got my booklet with me. A new client that I'm getting ready to hook up with one of the chats. I figure, hey, I'll get a little change of scenery, get out of the house, right? Well, I go to Starbucks. So the line's around the building, so I figure I'll go inside anyway. I go in, there's a long line. I'm waiting. And I'm already steaming. I'm like, you know, this is insane for coffee. So I get up there finally. There's about 5 people standing around, one working, the other 4 with their thumb up their butt. It's shift change time. It's 3 o'clock. Now, the place is jammed in the middle of the afternoon, and they change the shift right in the middle of the busiest time. So, you know, there you go. I mean, Starbucks, hey, take a hint. Try to do it in the off time. But anyway, so be it. It is what it is. So they're changing shifts. I finally get up there. I say to the girl, I'll have a large tea with lemon. She goes, what kind of tea? What kind of tea? Tea. I don't, they got 10 different kinds. I want hot tea with lemon. She says, okay. She comes over. She brings me the cup with the tea. I pay her. I said, where do I find the lemon? Oh, we don't have lemon. We don't have lemon. I said, hot tea with lemon about 3 times. We don't have lemon. Now, there's a mile-long line behind me, mind you. I says, well, then I don't need the tea. She starts giving me an argument. I paid for hot tea with lemon. You got no lemon. Take your tea, stick it up your butt, all right? I didn't tell her that, but believe me, I felt like it. Anyway, I got my refund. I came back. I watched Big Mike, which I want you to watch if that link is below. If not, go to YouTube, punch in the Kid from Brooklyn Starbucks, and you'll see what I mean. If you don't like vulgar language, then don't listen to it, because he drops the F-bomb 100 times. That's the way we talk from the Northeast, so what can I tell you? I'm trying to tone it down on these broadcasts, but, I might slip myself, so I apologize in advance. So there you go. That's the Starbucks deal. I'll never go back there. They're a bunch of goofballs, I'll go to IHOP. I'll pay $1 for the tea. I'll get the lemon. I'll get people that actually know how the hell to wait a table. I'll be able to sit down. They got free Wi-Fi. I'll be able to get a whole meal for $5, $6. I was looking at the pound cake. You'll see if you go to the Kid from Brooklyn. The pound cake is like $3, $4. It's crazy. It's like, you want to get a snack and a cup of coffee. It's $7 or $8 for Christ's sakes. It's insane. And people are waiting in line to spend the money there too. Hey, I tip my hat to Starbucks. You're able to take care of making that kind of money and doing things. Not from Cadillac Joe D anymore. I'd rather starve to death than go there. Chapter 4 from the wrestling. We left off at Killer Kowalski's Institute of Professional Wrestling. Well, I paid the killer the money. I watched the boys wrestle. I was excited. I left. I go home. I immediately get on the phone to Charlotte, North Carolina, gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. I said, Jimmy, it's set. I've got the guys hired. I've got the date. They're going to be there. I'm working on this thing. Now, this is months and months in advance. He says, cool, I'll get a hold of Michael. So I go into action. I get with my friends at J&P Cycles at the time, John Parham. He had a they still do. I don't think they're for hire anymore, but very good creative services department. I had them make flyers. Got a hold of the guys from New Bedford with the Wall of Death. Red Devils Hot Rod Club in Franklin to run the car show. We're going to have a bike show. It's going to be, and my nickname, my father and mother used to call me Nino. That's Italian for Tony. It's Nino Mania Promotions presents the Hot Rod and Chopper Carnival. And we're going to have all this stuff, and it's going to be down the Sportsman's in Bellingham. And I'm measuring the field, and I'm going through all this stuff. And believe me, it was a ton of work and a lot of money. I spent probably $20,000 to put this thing on. Probably lost about $14,000. Didn't care. Wanted to do it. It was great. So anyway, talking to Jimmy, we're going back and forth. One day he calls me. He says, Joe, I got some bad news. I said, what's the matter? He says, Vince McMahon won't let Michael come up and wrestle. Now here's this multi-billion-dollar company won't let this guy come to a field in Bellingham. Nobody's going to know about it except for the couple of thousand people that show up. All right? That's it. It's not like it's going to be on TV, he's breaching contract or anything like that. He won't let Michael P.S. Hayes come. I says, well, Jimmy, then it'll just be a singles match, and I'll bring gorgeous Jimmy Garvin out of retirement, my Cadillac Joe D, my protege, gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. He says, I got an even better idea. I says, what's that? He goes, why don't you be my tag team partner? I was like, get out of here. He goes, I'm telling you, why don't you do it? Get with Kowalski, get some lessons. He goes, I'll do the heavy lifting. He goes, we'll have a ball. Well, you know, you had to peel me off the ceiling after that. I was so excited. I call Kowalski's right-hand man. He's still around, I think. I don't think he's retired from active in-ring competition, but his name is Mike Hollow. Very, very good wrestler. Wrestled in WWE over the years, a lot of dark matches, which means it wasn't on TV. It was the preliminary match before the big show came on. But very, very good. And he was Kowalski's in-ring trainer. And Mike says, yeah, no problem. So I get in there and I start training with these guys. And I'm going, and mind you, I'm already, you know, this is in the spring now. I start doing this around March or April. Well, I'd already been going to the gym 2 or 3 months, the New Year's resolution. So I'm getting in good shape. But in fact, now I'm in my 40s. This is in 1999. So I was 42 years old. And 41, 42 years old. And I'm in the best shape of my life. I mean, I was moving and grooving, styling and profiling, baby. I was looking good and I was feeling good. Going to the gym twice a day, you know, traveling, working, doing all this stuff. It's all good. And I'm training. Well, it's getting closer. It's getting time. Well, I go home and I owned a house, Greeny's old house on McCarthy Street, 26 McCarthy Street in Franklin. I go to get my mail. There's a business card in there. It says, Superstar Butch Petrillo. You heard me talk about Butch before. I hadn't seen Butch, God, in probably, I don't know, 15 years. I hadn't seen him in forever. Probably since my father's wake, maybe, or funeral. I don't know. It had been a heck of a long time since I've seen him anyway. And it says, manager of champion of managers. I get on the phone. Butch, how are you? Hey, what do you say? We're talking. Well, Butch is part owner of a wrestling company down out of Providence area, Central Falls, I think it was, Unified Championship Wrestling. I says, you're kidding me. So, long story short, he comes over. I go with him. I meet his guys. So I said, well, I've already got Kowalski hired. I want to have Killer Kowalski. That was it. So the day comes. It's coming up close to the match. Well, now, as it always says on the card, it says the event is subject to change without notice. Everything in life is. Well, Jimmy Garvin, like any wrestler, and like anybody that works on commission, anybody that gets paid after they've done the work, is subject to being stiffed. The wrestling business is a cutthroat business. You know, the guys will get them. The promoter will get the money. They'll tell the guys they got half the gate that they actually got. You know, they're stiffing them out of money constantly. Same thing in sales. Like I say, anything, you know, and I won't say everybody does it, but it's a real leap of faith when you do the work up front and want to get paid after. So Jimmy, you know, being a pal of mine, but he says, Joe, he says, you know, I've got this thing. He says, I need to, you know, because I told him I'd get him a set of wheels for his bike. He didn't ask. I offered it. And I said, well, Jimmy, I'll get him. I said, when you come up, I'll have him here for you. He goes, no, man. He goes, you got to ship them to me first. So I won't say we had a fight, but we had a little disagreement. I said, Jimmy, no. And again, I had never promoted an event before, and I didn't realize the way it is. You know, a lot of still, a lot of them still get paid after the fact. He wanted to get paid up front. I said, Jimmy, you know what? I said, all due respect, you're my pal. I said, I'm not doing that. I said, so I guess the card will change. Lady, stop it. I'm talking. The card will change without notice. So Jimmy didn't come. We're still pals to this day, not a problem. We had the show. It was a great show. So now we go into the second part of the story, or the latter part of the story. Superstar Butch Petrillo. He says, Joe, because I tell you what, I learned how to wrestle at Kowalski School. The guy knew what he was doing. Even though I'm an old timer compared to these young bloods in there, I know what I'm doing. I can do it. I can get the crowd popping. I can talk in the camera. I could do it all. I mean, I'm not jumping off the ropes and all this stuff, but I can get the crowd, I can get the blood boiling, because I would obviously be a heel, and I could get their blood boiling like crazy. I'd get out there and say, okay, referee, don't let him touch my hair. If he touches my hair, that's it, I'm leaving. Get ready to lock up, and then I'd stop and go like this. Don't touch my hair. Go over to Butch. He'd comb my hair. I walk around the ring, and the fans are boiling. This is down in the Providence area. We had matches up in Bellingham. We had one actually even in Patriots. You know, these things didn't draw huge numbers, but I'll tell you what, I wrestled. I was in the ring. I'm Cadillac Joe D, baby. I'm a headliner. All right? And I was former, for a very short period of time, a Unified Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. That happens when you own the show, when you run the show, and when you're the promoter and you pay for the show. You kind of have a little input on who wins. It's a beautiful thing. I love that sport. Why leave it to chance? So that was the story of Cadillac Joe D, how I became involved in professional wrestling. And I wrestled around the country. And, you know, did I make any money? Yeah, probably not. I mean, by the time it was all said and done. Did I fulfill my childhood dream? Yes. And I'll never forget, Killer Kowalski had pulled me aside. He said, Joe, he goes, I wish you came to me 20 years earlier. He goes, because, man, he goes, kid, and now mind you, he was much older than me. He goes, kid, you got charisma. He says, I could have really done something with you. He says, but, you know, you're 42 years old. He goes, these young kids, he goes, they'll kill you. I said, yeah, I know, Mr. Kowalski, I understand. So I went to work with Butchie, went around the country, we did things, all good. So that's pretty much the extent of it. But I will tell you now, in 2014, I'm here in Kansas City. There's a wrestling company by the name of Metro Wrestling, and I'm trying to get a hold of them to return to the ring at 56 years old. So I'll keep you posted on how that goes, because I think I got one more good run left in me. Cadillac Joe D, often imitated, never duplicated. Remember that. Anyway, that's the story. If you have any questions, let me know. Glad to answer them. Had fun talking about this stuff. I'll be coming back at you tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be a little bit warmer. Be kind to everybody. Spay and neuter your pets. Bring them in if it's cold. Work hard. Keep your nose clean. You know, if the boss starts giving you a hard time, put your head down and just keep working. Don't talk too much. Don't talk as much as I do. You'll probably be looking for a job. Anyway, this is Cadillac Joe D signing off. January 9th, 2014. Have a great day, folks.